So yesterday I've asked you to do the multiple choice of the internal past paper. That is from 2019 to 2020, paper 2, multiple choice. Okay. So today I would like to talk about those questions. 如果你哋想我講邊一題嘅，你可以喺個 chat room 嗰度打出嚟先啊。OK， 咁如果唔係嘅話，如果未見到有任何題目嘅話咧，咁我就順住講咁樣樣。咁但係如果有邊係想講咗先嘅，咁就可以喺 chat room 裏邊打出嚟先。OK， so please type if you have any questions that you have done but do not know how to do, okay, do not know how you get wrong or do not know how to start. Okay, so please type the question numbers in the chat room, and then I will talk about those questions first. Okay, if there's no questions in chat room, then I will just start from the beginning. Number 30. Okay. So number 30, it is given that alpha and beta are the roots of the quadratic equation 8x squared minus 8x plus p equals 0. If 5 alpha plus 8 beta is equal to 13, then the question asks you to find the value of p. Okay, so this is when you read this question, I think you have a feeling that this question is about sum of roots and product of roots. Do you? And so we just write down the sum of roots and product of roots first. Alpha plus beta is equal to negative b over a. Okay, I just write down the formula first. If you have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and with the roots being alpha and beta, then the sum of roots, that is the alpha plus beta, will be equal to negative b over a. And then product of roots, alpha times beta, is equal to c over a. Okay, so we're going to use this knowledge for this question. And in this case, our ABC is 1, negative 8, and positive p, respectively. So alpha plus beta should be equal to negative 8 over 1. So that should be 8. And then alpha times beta should be equal to c over 8. So that is p. Okay. But this time we have another information. We have 5 alpha plus 8 beta is equal to 13. Okay. So we are going to solve for alpha and beta first. Okay. So I just label this to be equation 1, and then 5 alpha plus 8 beta to be equation 2. Okay, and then we will just use our techniques of solving simultaneous equations to try to solve these two equations. Okay, so I'm going to multiply equation 1 by 8. Okay, and I'll get 8 alpha plus 8 beta is equal to 64, and label this to be equation 3. I will want to multiply equation 1 by 8 because I would like to make the beta terms to be equal. Okay, I mean for equation 2, equation 3, such that I can use equation 3 to minus equation 2. And then for the alpha column, we have 8 alpha minus 5 alpha becomes 3 alpha. And then the beta terms will be completely cancelled. And then for the right-hand side of the equation, we have a 51, which means that alpha is equal to 17. Okay, and then you just put alpha equals 17 into equation 1. Okay, so 17 plus beta is equal to 8, which means that beta is equal to -9. Okay, finally, the question asks you to find the value of P. And then from our preparation, P will be equal to alpha times beta. So we have already found the values of alpha and beta. So we just calculate alpha times beta. And this should be equal to -153. Okay, so the answer is option A. Is that okay? Okay, so any more questions that you want me to talk about first? If no, I will start from number 1.你而家一路諗到你可以再打嘅，咁我一見到我就會講咗你哋想講嗰啲題目先㗎啦 ，OK？ 咁但係未有嘅時候咧，我就按我個次序去講先。So 1/8 plus 1/b. So that this one is very easy. 嗱，我唔知道大家即係初中學成點啊，咁所以咧咁都係嗰句，我會盡量 detail，OK？ 咁但係你哋當中有啲 step 可以跳嘅就跳 ，OK？So I need to make the two fractions having the same denominator by multiplying the same numbers to the top and to the bottom of each fraction, okay? To make them having equal denominators, okay? And now they have equal denominators, then I just merge the two fractions together, okay, using the same denominator, okay? So, but you know that b plus a can be written as a plus b, okay? So that is the answer, option D. All right. And then number 2. Laws of indexes. So we have 2a power 0 b -2 to the power 3 over a -2 b 4. Okay. The first thing I notice is the power 0. Okay, so everything to the power 0 is equal to 1. I just simplify this to be 1 first. Okay, 2 times 1, that is just 2, and then b to the power -2, and then bracket to the power 3, a -2, b 4. Every other thing else should have no change. And the next thing I would like to do is to distribute the power 3 into the brackets. Okay, so inside the bracket we have a 2 and we have a b -2. Each of them can share the power 3. So 2 power 3 and b -2 power 3. And then all the other things are just copied. Okay. And then we have 2 power 3 becomes pure number. You may use the calculator. That is 8. And then we have power of powers. So b -2 and then power 3. We just multiply the powers together. Okay. So it's b -6. And then we have a -2 and b 4. 好，咁呢度咧，跟住咧，咁你就嗱都係嗰句啊，即係唔熟嘅同學先至聽啦，熟嘅同學咧就唔好聽啦，得唔得？I need to separate the number column. So 8 is on the top, right? Okay, and the A column, A -2 is on the bottom, and the B column we have B -6 divided by B 4. Okay, and so each column has a fraction. If there is nothing, then we just provide it with a 1. Okay， 寫住先嘅啫，得唔得？咁呢度咧，即係就算你喺 long quote 裏邊咧，你都咁樣寫嘅話咧，就最穩陣嘅啦。咁但係都係嗰句，可以 skip 嘅就 skip 啦，當然。And then 8/1 is becoming just 8. And then power -2, it becomes upside down, okay, or downside up, because a power -2 at this moment it is in the denominator, okay, but the negative index will bring it back to the numerator, so it becomes a +2. And then we have 2 b powers, and then we have the subtraction of the powers, -6 minus 4, sorry. Okay, so we have 8 times a squared times b to the power -10. Finally, you just change the negative index back to be fraction. Okay, it's 1/b10. Okay, and then finally, you just multiply the numbers to the top part of the fraction. So that should be 8a squared divided by b10. Okay, so the final answer should be option D. 咁咧，我唔係好建議你哋咧喺未化簡一啲 loss of index 嘅時候咧，將嗰啲負次方咧變翻做正次方嘅。咁我自己即係如果數學好啲、強啲、有信心啲嘅同學嘅話咧，當然可以咁做啦。咁但係如果數學弱少少嘅同學未有信心去到做得啱嘅話咧，咁我就建議你哋咧，好似咁樣啦，即係分翻開數字還數字做 ，A 還 A 做 ，B 還 B 做咁樣，去到慢慢嚟，得唔得 ？OK， 咁呢度最 detail 嘅方法就係咁啦。OK，and then number 3。This is also about loss of indexes, but 嗱呢一題咧，呢一種題目咧，我會覺得係難啲嘅。對比起頭先嗰種，嗱呢兩題都係關於 loss of index 嚟嘅。OK， 咁點解我話呢一題會係難啲咧？因為咧佢個 base 唔係一啲未知數，佢係一啲數字做個 base 係嘛？反而我覺得呢一種咧係難啲嘅，因為咧。你係要轉 base 啊，簡單嚟講 ，OK？ we have base 2. The first number is base 2, and then the second number is base 16. If we have different bases and different indexes, okay? Different base and different index, right? And then we can do nothing to simplify this. So we can apply the laws of indexes only if we have the same base or we have the same index. OK， 一係就個 base 一樣，一係就係個次方一樣，先至可以做到嘢嘅。咁如果呢個兩樣都唔一樣嘅話咧，我哋可以點做咧？我哋就要轉 base 啦。OK，we have base 2 and base 16. Normally， 嗱呢度咧，即係如果你做得多幾題嘅話咧，都應該係可以即係有啲印象咧，即係大家都係2嘅次方嚟，係咪？ So we are going to change the base to 2. So 2 to the power x has nothing to do. And then we have 16 changing to the 2 power 4 and then power y. Get this? Okay. And then 2 to the power x, nothing to do. And then power of power, just multiply the powers together. Becomes 4y. And we have 2 powers of 2 times another power of 2. Then we just add their indexes together. It becomes 2 to the power x plus 4y. Okay? And you can find the answer now. Option A. 得，所以咧記住有兩隻嘅 loss of index 嘅題目啊。如果係英文字母做 base 嘅話咧，我覺得係容易啲嘅。OK， 因為咧你唔需要考慮轉做乜嘢 base。但係咧如果係數字做 base 嘅話咧，通常你都要轉一轉 base 㗎啦，咁樣樣。OK。Number 4, changing subject. So we have xy over ax plus y equals 1 over a. Okay, and so obviously we want to change the subject to be y. Okay, so there are two fractions. Okay, and luckily, left-hand side is one single fraction, and right-hand side is also a one single fraction. Okay, so we just multiply the denominators to the opposite side. Okay, so it's axy is equal to 1 times ax plus y. And then we will just move the subject terms to one side and the non-subject terms to the other side. So that is why this y term and this axy term are the subject terms, okay? And we try our best to avoid negative terms, okay? We want to keep as little negative terms as possible. So axy minus y is equal to ax, okay? And then we need to take out the subject. So what is remaining is ax minus 1, okay? And then we just divide the bracket to the right-hand side. So ax over ax minus 1, okay? And y is alone on one side. And on the other side, there is no more y. So y is the subject now. And this will be the answer. Okay, so the answer is option B. Get it? Number 5. Simple inequality. So this one is really simple. So I would suggest you to multiply. Okay, multiply the whole inequality. Okay, I mean multiply to every term in the inequality by the denominator to cancel out all the denominator first. Okay, so it's multiplying by 2 plus 2 times 1 less than 2 times x. Okay, so the first term becomes x plus 2 less than 2x, and then I will try to keep try my best to keep the x term on the positive side. So that is 2 less than 2x minus x, that is x. At the very last step, I will change the x to the left-hand side, okay? But now x is on the larger side, 2 is on the smaller side, and I need to keep this relationship. But when x is written on the left, it should be larger than 2 because x should be on the larger side, okay? So x is larger than 2, and the answer is option D. Get it?嗱，如果你哋已經做晒呢一個MC 嘅話咧，咁你可以做下 long quack 嘅，得唔得？咁啊，如果你即係譬如冇嘢係需要聽啊，冇嘢需要問嘅，全部都啱晒嘅話咧，咁你可以做做 long quack 啦。咁如果你做完一份嘅話咧，咁你可以 download 多份嚟做嘅喺 E-class 裏邊啊。咁我擺咗3年嘅 past paper 嘅。咁如果都做晒嘅話咧，咁再同我講 ，OK？ 咁我可以擺多啲，我有10年嘅 past paper 喺度嘅 ，OK？ 得唔得？ Number 6. If A is less than B and less than 0, which of the following must be true? 嗱，呢度咧，呢度你 highlight 佢先啊，呢個啊。我想你 highlight 嘅地方就係其實係 less than 0呢樣嘢。OK， less than 0 means that A and B are both negative. Okay, both of them are negative because A is less than B and B is less than 0. Okay, both of them are less than 0. Okay, and then which of the following must be true? 好啦，呢度咧我哋點樣去睇咧？ We just bear in mind that A and B are negative. It is given that A is less than B, okay? And we just bear in mind that they are negative. If A is less than B, then how about negative A and negative B? Okay, which one should be larger? We just multiply a negative sign to this inequality. But when a negative number is multiplied to an inequality, the inequality sign should be reversed. Okay, so it should be larger than. Can you get this? So option A is not correct. Okay, so A is not true. Okay, how about squaring both sides? If A is less than B, okay, just give an example. Give an example. Negative 4 is less than negative 3, right? Okay, how about negative 4 squared and negative 3 squared? Which one should be larger? This is 16, and this is 9. And it is obvious that negative 4 should be, square, should be larger than negative 3 squared. Okay, which means that A squared should be larger than B squared when they both are negative. Okay, if they both are positive, then A squared will still be less than B squared. Okay, that will be different cases. Can you get this? But if both of them are negative numbers, A and B, both of them are negative numbers, then when they are squared, the A squared and B squared, among these two numbers, A squared and B squared, the A squared will become larger, which is larger than B squared. Okay, which means that B is not true. Get this? Okay, and then how about C? A power negative 1, that is 1 over A and 1 over B. Okay, we know that if A is less than B, then the reciprocal, when we do reciprocal on both sides of the inequality, and we have to reverse the inequality sign, okay, which means that A power negative 1 is really larger than B power negative 1. It's okay? So C is true. Okay, so the answer is option C. Can you get this? So I would like to show you why option D is not true. 好啦，呢度咧 option D 咧，咁你望一望嘅喎。We have A over B plus B over A. Okay, so what can we do here? What can we do? We can actually merge them together. Okay, it's A square over AB plus B square over AB, right? We can make the two fractions having the same denominators, and then we just merge them to be one single fraction like this. But now we know that A square, okay, no matter whether A is positive or negative, A square must be positive, and so does B. Okay, no matter B is positive or negative, B square must be positive, which means that in this fraction, the numerator must be positive. But how about the denominator? We know that A itself is negative, B itself is negative, and the product of two negative numbers should be positive, right? So the denominator is also positive, okay? Which means that this fraction, the result of this fraction, should be a positive number. That is, this fraction is larger than 0. Okay? But option D says that this sum is less than 0, which means that we can conclude that D is not true. So the answer is option C. Can you get this? Number 7, factorization. So a squared minus 9b squared minus 4a plus 12b. Add 4 terms. So we have 4 terms, and we need to group the terms into 2 groups, right? Sometimes it is 2 groups. I mean 2 groups of 2, or sometimes it will be 1 group of 3 and the other group of 1.嗱，呢度咧，如果大家未係即係超級純熟嘅話咧，咁我俾個提示你喎。呢度咧，我意思係有陣時咧，我哋會將佢分成兩個 terms 一組。有陣時我哋會將佢分成1個 term， 然之後3個 terms 一組。幾時會係3個1個咁樣分咧？就係咧，嗱，你見到咧，一定會有2個 terms 係有2次方嘅，有 a square term， 有 b square term， 係咪 ？b square term， 如果你見到係有 ab term 嘅 ，OK， 即係可能加 3ab 啊、減 6ab 啊呢啲咁嘅嘢嘅話咧，咁咧通常就會係連埋嗰3個一組啦。或者我哋學咗 degree 啊，呢個 degree two，OK，degree two 嘅係一組 ，degree one 嘅係另外一組，好多時都係咁樣嘅 ，OK 得唔得？所以呢度咧，如果你純熟嘅話咧，你一睇就知道應該頭2個 terms 係一組 a square minus 9b square should be grouped to one group, and then we always connect the second group by a plus sign. Okay, and then we just copy the second group, negative 4a plus 12b. Can you get this? 嗱，呢度咧好多堂咧，即係成日做錯咗呢啲數嘅時候咧，佢就係漏咗呢個加號嘅，漏咗呢個加號咧，佢哋就會寫咗係咁樣嘅。OK， 咁樣就變咗乘㗎咯。變咗乘嘅話咧，陣間就冇得再抽 common factor 咧，咁就錯咗㗎啦。你係咪都寫翻個加號出嚟先？得唔得？係咪都寫？就算呢個係正都好，都寫個加號咁樣。OK， 唔好漏咗中間個加號個 connection。好啦，跟住咧 ，the next step you need to do is to try your best to factorize each group. In the first group, you have a squared minus 9b squared. So obviously, you're going to use the identity of x squared minus y squared becomes x plus y times x minus y, where the x is a and the y is 3b, right? A plus 3b, a minus 3b, okay? And then we take out the common factor from the second group. So minus 4a plus 12b. We have a common factor of 4. Just take out the 4 and we have negative a and then plus 3b. OK， 當然啦，如果你睇得快嘅話咧，你知道其實我哋實際最終唔係淨係抽個4出嚟嘅。點解啊？因為抽4出嚟，如果你淨係抽4出嚟之後 ，OK， 你會見到咧，我哋係 negative a plus 3b。But for the first group, we have positive a minus 3b. The positive and negative signs are completely opposite. OK， 好啦，如果喺一個 group 裏邊，所有 terms 嘅正負號都係完全相反嘅話咧，咁就正啦。OK， 咁就有得做。嗱，如果只係有一部分係相反，有一部分係跟翻佢嘅正負號嘅話咧，就冇得做。但係如果全部 terms 都係相反正負號嘅，就有得做。點樣做？就係抽個負號出嚟啦。Okay, so if all the terms are having the signs being opposite, then we just take out a negative sign from the second group. Okay, the minus a becomes positive a, plus 3b becomes minus 3b. Okay, and then we will have another layer of common factor. Okay, the common factor is a minus 3b at this step. So we take out the common factor, a minus 3b, and then open the bracket and write down the remaining factors. For the first term, the remaining factor is a plus 3b. And then the connection between the two big terms will be minus, and the remaining terms for the second group is 4. So it's a plus 3b minus 4. Okay, so this is the answer, option B. Get it? Number 8. So ratio 2x equals 3y equals 5z. Okay, I want to find the ratio of x to y to z. 好嗱，呢度咧，我唔記得咗我有冇教過你哋啦。即係我逢親見到，如果我見到 ratio 嘅話咧，我就會用一個所謂嘅 K method。OK， 即係如果佢俾咗一紮嘅 ratio 等於幾多比幾多比幾多嘅話咧，我就會叻佢每一個咧就係幾多 K， 跟住另一個就係幾多 K 咁樣如此類推。咁但係呢度咧佢唔係俾到 ratio 你喎，佢俾咗啲咩你咧？佢俾咗條 equation 你。咁我咧都用一個變種嘅 K method。Okay, so 2x is equal to 3y is equal to 5z now, and then I will let these three things, so all of them are equal, right? And all of them are equal to k. Do you understand? 如果你再醒啲嘅話咧，我就唔會就咁叻佢做 k， 我會叻佢做 30k。Do you know why? So I'm going to let 2x to be 30k, 3y to be 30k, and 5z to be 30k. Do you know how I get the 30 here? 陣間先講俾你聽下。So now 2x is equal to 30k, right? And 3y is also equal to 30k. And 5z is also equal to 30k. And then we can actually find or express x and y and z in terms of k. In this case, x is equal to 15k. And then y is equal to 10k. And then z is equal to 6k. Can you get this? Because the question wants us to find the ratio of x to y to z. We need a common language between x and y and z. And now, each of them is represented in terms of k. Okay? So they have a common language to describe the values of x, y, and z. X is 15 times of k, y is 10 times of k, and z is 6 times of k. Okay, they have a common language. Okay, so we can compare them now. The question asks us to find the ratio of x to y to z, and now I just change them to be 15k to 10k to 6k. Look at this. And to simplify a ratio, we can freely multiply the same number to every part in the ratio. And of course, we can freely divide by the same number to every term in the ratio. And in this case, we will divide every part by k. Okay, so 15k divided by k is 15. 10k divided by k is 10. 6k divided by k is 6. That is the answer. Okay, just check whether we can still simplify this ratio. If there is no more simplification can be made, then that is the answer. Okay, and you can find the answer option C here. Can you get this? Number 9.好啦，呢題咧，咁啊睇下你哋熟唔熟啦呢啲嘢。Scale of a map， 好啦，即係地圖上面嘅比例係1比10000 ，is 1 to 10,000. On the map, the area of the farm is 2 cm square, and the question asks you to find the actual area of the farm. Just remember that for this type of question, we always use this. A1 over A2 is equal to L1 over L2 square. Okay, area ratio is equal to the length ratio bracket square. We always use this formula to do this type of question. Okay, where 1 is the thing on the map, 2 is the actual thing. Okay, so whether it is area on the map or length on the map will be 1. Okay, actual area and actual length will be 2. Okay, so normally it is like this. And then this one, so please highlight this. The scale of a map, okay, is always the L1 to L2. Okay, scale of a map is about the length ratio. Is okay？ 嗱，記住1比10000就係個 length ratio 嚟㗎啦 ，L1 比 L2 嚟嘅。Okay, and then the area on the farm, so area of the farm on the map is 2 cm square, which means that this one should be A1. Okay, 2 cm square should be A1, and the actual area of the farm should be A2. That is what we want to find. It's okay. So now, if we just use this, A1 over A2 is equal to bracket L1 over L2 square. Then our A1 is 2 cm square, 2 cm square, and then A2 is unknown. Okay, that is what we want to find. Okay, and L1, we do not know what L1 is. We do not know what L2 is, but we do not care what they are. We just care about what the ratio of them is. Okay, so that should be L1 over L2 should be 1 over 10,000. Can you get this? Okay. 我哋係成個比例咁樣去搬入去嘅，我哋唔知 L1 係幾多，唔知 L2 係幾多嘅，但係我哋知道佢嘅比例係幾多，即係呢個份數係幾多咁樣樣。OK， and then just simplify this first。仲有呢度記住保留個單位先。We need to keep this unit because in the answer we are going to find the A2 with different units. Okay, with different units. So some steps later, we must involve a step of changing units. Okay, so when in your calculation, if there is a step of changing units, you need to write down the units in every step. Okay, to make it clear. Okay, so let's do the calculation. So this is 2 cm square divided by A2, and then this is 1 square over 1, like this, 80. And then just multiply the denominators to the opposite side, and you'll find that A2 is equal to 2 and then 80 cm square. Okay? 呢度2億個 cm square 嘅，咁但係2億個 cm square 即係幾多個 km square 咧？咁首先我哋知道 D 應該唔啱㗎啦，係咪？ So now I would like to change the unit from cm square to be km square. How to change the unit？ 好啦，嗱呢度咧，如果即係細個學得唔係好熟呢一課嘅話咧嘅同學咧，咁咪即係記一記啦。嗱都係啊，我講一個最穩陣嘅方法先。中間你啲 step skip 到就 skip。OK？I want to change the unit from cm square to km square. I need to find the relationship between km and cm first. Okay? 1 km is equal to how many cm? That is the question I want to ask. But km and cm are too far away. I just change to m first. Okay? 1 km is 1,000 meters, right? And then 1 meter is 100 centimeter. So 1 km is equal to 1,000 times 100 cm. Can you get this? Okay, that is 1 km is equal to 1,000,000 cm. 好啦，我哋要揾 cm square 同埋 km square 嘅關係，我哋就先揾咗 cm 同埋 km 之間嘅關係先，然之後將呢條式 square 一次。OK， 1即係咁樣啊。Square and then square. Okay, and then we will put the square to the number. 1 square is 1, and km, put the square to the km, is km square. Okay, and then this what is it, 100,000 square is 1, like this, the number is this, and then cm square. Can you get this? 好啦，跟住我哋揾咗 km square 同埋 cm square 之間嘅關係啦，係嘛？我哋就可以去翻揾答案咯。Now A2 is equal to this number cm square. How can I change it to km square? 咁咪咁咯。呢度咁樣先啊。A2 is this one, and this, sorry, this should be equal to times 1 over this. Okay, 寫清楚啲先。Like this， 少個零喎，10個零啊。It's okay。好啦，咁呢個 cm square 就約走咗啦，即係個單位約走咗啦，剩翻就係個數字嘞噃。咁即係幾多啊？咁即係約走咗，睇先，咦，少咗零啊 ，sorry 啊，呢度有8個零嘅應該，1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8，係啦 ，OK， 呢度咧係10個零嘅，7、8、9、10，一個係10個零，一個係8個零，咁即係約剩2個零啦。OK， 即係咁啦，2 over 100。OK， km square。Can you get this? And then, so just change this fraction to be decimal number. It should be 0.02 km square. So the answer is option A. It's okay? 嗱，轉單位就係咁噶啦。得唔得？ Then number 10, identity. This one should be easy. So left hand side is 5x, negative 5x squared minus 10x. And then the right hand side is negative 5 times x minus a squared plus b. 就好似我哋做long division, division algorithm 嗰個咁樣，係嘛？ So just expand the right hand side. Okay, it's negative 5 times x minus a squared plus b. That should be equal to -5 times x squared minus 2ax plus a squared plus b. And then -5x squared plus 10ax minus 5a squared plus b. And then comparing the like terms, okay? Comparing so we do not need to compare the square term because it did not involve any unknowns, okay? Compare the x term. So we have 10ax on the right hand side. And then on the left hand side, we have negative 10x. So just compare, write down their coefficients. 10a should be equal to -10. So a is equal to -1. Okay. And then we need to compare the constant term. Comparing the constant terms. Okay. The right hand side is -5a squared plus b. And the left hand side is no constant term, means that the constant term is 0. And at the same time, we have already found that a is equal to -1. Okay, so this -5 plus b is equal to 0, which means that b should be equal to 5. Okay, so a is -1, b is 5. So the answer is option B. Get it? Number 11, simultaneous equations. So we have 4x plus 7y equals 8 equals -3x plus y minus 11. We have this type of simultaneous equation, left, middle, right. And then we will do this. Okay, it's 4x plus 7y equals 8 to be equation 1, and then -3x plus y minus 11 is equal to 8. Label this to be equation 2. Okay, and then wait, 4x plus 7y. Okay, and then I noticed that we have a y here. So we have a y, and it is very suitable to be the subject. Okay, because when it is changed to subject of this equation, there will be no fraction. Okay, it's very important. So I will start from equation 2, changing y to be the subject. Okay, y is equal to 8 plus 11, that is 19 plus 3x, and label this to be equation 3. And then we have to substitute equation 3 into equation 1. Okay, so 4x plus 7 times 19 plus 3x is equal to 8. So 4x plus 133. Am I correct? Plus 21x is equal to 8. So 25x is equal to -125. So x is -5. Okay? 咁呢個未計完喎，我一見到計完個 x， 又見到有個-5呢個答案，就衝去寫個答案係 A 喎，因為題目係問咩咧？係問 y 噶嘛 ？Okay? And then we just put x equals -5 back into equation 3 to calculate the value of y. So y is equal to 19 plus 3 times -5, which should be equal to 4. Okay? So the answer is C. Get this? Number 12, compound interest. 嗱，成日都問㗎 compound interest 喺 DSE， 成日都問㗎。我唔記得咗我有冇同你溫過啦。咁而家呢度咧，同你溫一次先。Compound interest， 我哋係要計個 A 先嘅。A is equal to P times bracket 1 plus R% divided by M to the power M times T. Okay? What is M? A is amount. A is the amount, and then P is the principal. R% is the interest rate, and then T is the number of years. OK， 嗱我寫埋出嚟先啦。A is the amount, and then P is the principal, and R percent is the interest rate, and then T is the number of years. Okay. And then we have I. I is the interest. Okay. Where I is equal to A minus P. 好，呢度咧想你間低呢一個啊，特別係 T。OK，T 一定要係用幾多年嚟去做嘅，即係話咧，如果今次俾你嗰個時期係6個月嘅6 months， 咁呢個 T 咧就唔係填個6字落去嘅咯噃。6 months 即係1/2年，係咪 ？OK。咁嘅時候咧，個 T 咧就應該係1/2或者0.5嚟㗎啦。呢度 get 到我得唔得？好啦，跟住做個 M 係咩嚟嘅咧？做個 M 睇住咯。呢度咧，我哋做 compound interest 嘅時候咧，一定會話俾你聽 compound that how often。OK， it's compounded regularly. But how regularly it is? It can be different cases. So it will be like this. If it is compounded yearly, then M is equal to 1. If it is compounded half yearly, then is equal to 2. If it's compounded quarterly, then M is equal to 4. If it's compounded monthly, then M is equal to 12. Okay? It depends on how regularly it is compounded. 即係咧，嗱，簡單嚟講咧就係佢每半年 compound 一次，我哋就要諗，即係1年裏邊 compound 咗幾多次 ？get 到可？我哋係諗1年裏邊個 M 啊 ，M 就係1年裏邊 compound 咗幾多次？逐個嚟睇睇啦。第一個咧 ，compounded yearly， 每年 compound 一次，每年結算一次，咁即係1年做咗幾多次啊？佢每年先一次，即係1年係得一次啦。咁 M 等於1啊。OK，and then second one， it's compounded half yearly， 每半年結算一次。咁我哋就要諗啦，即係1年裏邊做咗幾多次啊？每半年一次，1年咪即係2次咯。咁所以 M 就等於2啦。OK，compounded quarterly， 每季 compound 一次，咁即係1年幾多次啊？1年有4季噶嘛，係嘛？咁咪即係4次咯。So M is 4。Compounded monthly， 每月 compound 一次，咁即係1年幾多次啊？1年有12個月啊嘛，咁咪12咯。So M is 12。It's like this。通常就係問你出呢4個嘅啫。咁即係去到好極端，應該都唔會㗎，喺 DSE 嗰度出㗎，即係唔會話咩 compounded daily 啊，或者甚至乎喺 M1 裏邊學嘅 compounded continuously 啊，咁一定唔會喺 core 裏邊出嘅。OK， 得唔得？通常都係呢4隻嘅啫。咁你記熟咗呢條公式佢咯，因為都呢幾年咧都成日都出㗎 compound interest 啊喺 DSE。OK，so now $10,000 is deposited for 2 years at 10% per annum, compounded half yearly. Find the compound interest。嗱，睇清楚佢叫你求啲乜嘢嘢，佢係叫你求 amount 啊，定係叫你求 interest 嘅 ？OK， 佢叫你 find the compound interest， 即係問你個 interest 得唔得？咁但係咧， 記住 compound interest 咧呢個計法咧，一定係計咗 amount 先嘅，跟住先至將個 amount 減翻個 principal 去到計個 interest 嘅。OK， 咁所以咧我哋先計咗 amount 出嚟先啊。So A is equal to the principal, that is $10,000 times bracket 1 plus R percent, that is 10%, divided by M. This time it is compounded half yearly, so the M should be equal to 2. Okay, and then to the power. 嗱呢個次方係 M 乘 T， 其實就係喺而家我哋考慮緊嘅時期裏邊，總共將會 compound 幾多次 ？OK， 而家係咪2年啊？我哋存款存2年，但係佢每半年 compound 一次，咁即係 total 咧，我哋 compound 咗幾多次咧？成個時期裏邊係咪4次啊？即係1年2次，而家係2年，咁所以就4次，所以其實係2 times 2 here。It's OK。咁呢度再俾多個 hint 啦。我通常我自己咧一定唔會將個 percent 呢樣嘢擺落計數機嗰個撳嘅，因為我唔係好掌握得到個計數機處理 percent 呢個係點樣嘅。講真 ，OK。咁我會咧將個 percent 咧轉做小數點或者分數先，得唔得？咁如果靚數嘅話咧就轉小數啦，唔靚嘅話轉做分數。呢個10% 即係0.1啦，0.1除2即係0.05啦，再加1即係1.05啦，跟住 to the power 4咁樣。OK， 跟住先撳機。It should be $12155.0625. $12155.0625. Okay, so this is the amount, and the interest will be amount minus principal. So that should be 12155 minus 0625 minus principal is 10,000. Okay, so the final answer should be 2155.0625, but it is correct to nearest dollar. Okay, so it should be 2155. So the answer is option B. Can you get this? 嗱，所以你要睇清楚究竟佢問你嘅求嘅係 amount， 抑或係 interest 啊？你見唔見到一定有個咁樣嘅答案去到陰你嘅 ？OK， 你一計完個 A 之後，盲中中去到揾答案嘅話咧，你就揾咗個 option D， 咁啊錯咗噶啦。OK，all right， number 13。哇！今年呢一年問咗好多初中嘢喎，原來。好啦 ，cost price、selling price and then loss, percentage profit, percentage loss. Amy bought an item for X dollars. She sold it to Betty at a profit of 20%. Then Betty then sold it to Cindy for $216 at a loss of 25%. Find X. 好啦，嗱咁我呢啲咧都好簡單嘅啫。最先就係 Amy 係咪 ？Amy 賣俾 Betty 嘅時候就係賺咗20%。Okay, so what should be the selling price of Amy? Selling price of Amy， 但係呢度咧，我想你跟我寫一樣嘢。Selling price of Amy is actually equal to the cost price of Betty， 因為今次咧牽涉到2次嘅交易嘅，係嘛？首先就係 Amy 賣俾 Betty， 然之後 Betty 咧就賣俾邊個啊 ？Cindy。OK， 所以咧 Betty 同時間係買咗一啲嘢，然後又賣咗一啲嘢。所以我哋想搞清楚嗰啲 price， 即係我哋唔能夠就咁講咩 cost price 同埋 selling price 㗎啦。今次，因為咧有2宗嘅買賣喺度 ，OK， 同埋咧，即係呢2宗買賣都係牽涉到同一件嘢嘅，所以第一宗買賣嘅 selling price 其實就係第2宗買賣嘅 cost price 嚟㗎啦。OK，the selling price of Amy is actually the cost price of Betty. It's okay. And it can be calculated by this. X dollars times, because it is a profit of 20%. So it should be 1 plus 20%. Okay, so it should be 1.2x dollars. Okay, this is for the first transaction. Can you get this? Okay, and then for the second transaction, Betty sold it to Cindy for $216 at a loss of 25%. OK， 好啦，阿 Betty 賣俾 Cindy 就係蝕咗20% 嘅。OK， which means that the selling price of Betty should be equal to this, her cost price times 1 minus 25%. Can you get this? This is the cost price of Betty, and then multiplied by 1 minus the percentage loss. Okay, and then we just simplify this expression first. I think it should be equal to 0.9x. Okay, 1.2 times 75%. Okay, should be 0.9. Okay, the selling price of Betty should be 0.9x, but the question also told you that the selling price, okay, the Betty then sold it to Cindy for $216. $216 will be the selling price of this transaction. And I have found my selling price to be 0.9x, and it is now given to be 216. So I'm going to put my selling price to be the given selling price. That is how we can set up an equation. Can you get this? So x is just 240. That is the answer. Option D. It's okay.好，跟住 Number 14. So which of the following is not a rational number? 好啦，終於去到 Form 4嘢咯，係嘛？A. So what is meant by rational number? Rational number is a number which can be expressed as an integer divided by a positive integer. Okay, integer over positive integer. If a number can be expressed in this form, then it is a rational number. Okay, so this is the definition of rational number. So in option A, pi times 0 is equal to 0. And 0 can be written as 0 divided by 1. Okay, integer over positive integer. So A is a rational number. Okay, if A is a rational number, then A is not the answer. B, root 8 times root 2 is root 16, right? But root 16 can be simplified to be 4. And 4 can be written as 4 over 1. Integer over positive integer. So B is a rational number. So B is not the answer. Okay? C, sine 60 degrees. If you remember, sine 60 degrees is equal to square root 3 over 2. Okay? Just want to tell you that, so what are not rational number? Is a number with square roots, but cannot cancel the square root. And also, if a number has a pi, okay, which cannot be cancelled, then it will be irrational numbers. I repeat, if a number contains a square root which cannot be cancelled, then it is an irrational number. And also, if a number contains a pi which cannot be cancelled, then it is an irrational number. Got it? So now the square root 3 cannot be further simplified, which means that this square root cannot be cancelled. So it is not a rational number. It is an irrational number. So the answer is option C. Can you get this? Okay. How about D? 0.324 ... recurring decimal. Okay. I need to do this. This is a dot. This is a dot. Remember that we have done this. Let x be this, okay? And then x is equal to 0.324, 324, 324, 324. Many 324s. Okay? Label this to be equation 1, and then we multiply the equation 1 by 1000 this time, because there are 3 repeating numbers, 324, 324. Okay? So multiplying by 1000, it should be 324.324, 324, 324, 324. Okay? Many 324s. This is equation 2. Okay? And I remember that I asked you to do this, to align by the decimal points. Okay? 用小數點去到對齊嘅。And then 2 minus 1. Left hand side is 999x. Right hand side is 324 minus 0. Okay? So x is equal to 324 over 999, which is equal to, which can be simplified to what? First 6 over 111 and 12 over 37. Am I correct? Yes, correct. So this number, this recurring decimal, can be changed to 12 over 37, which is integer over positive integer. Okay, then it is a rational number. Okay, so D is not the answer. So the answer is option C. Got it? 15. Simplify this. Remember this, we need to split the number with the square root -1. Like this. Okay, and then the square root -1 will be changed to I. And the square root number, you just try to simplify this with your calculator. It becomes 5i, and then times bracket 12i minus 9i. Okay, and then the 12i minus 9i can be simplified first. Okay, it becomes 3i. And then number times number, 15, I times I squared. Okay, but I squared will be changed back to -1. Okay, so final answer will be -15. So the answer is option C. Next, number 16. I times I squared times I cubed times I4. Remember, I has a pattern. It is repeating and repeating and repeating. Okay, again and again. I is I. I2 is -1. I3 is -I. I4 is 1. Okay. Just remember the repeating pattern. Okay, and then you just multiply the numbers together. Okay, double negative becomes positive, and we have just 1. Okay, 1. And the I times I is I squared. But I squared will be changed back to -1. So it's just -1. So the answer is option C. Then 17. The sum of the real part and the imaginary part of this complex number 1/5 plus I is what? Okay. 好，呢度咧，記唔記得我教過你哋撳機㗎？呢度可以撳出嚟嘅噃，係嘛？咁但係如果係 long quack 嘅話，就唔可以直接撳機啦，當然。And remember that it is not allowed to have I terms in the denominator of a fraction. So we need to do this times. If it is in the form of A plus BI, then we multiply by A minus BI over A minus BI. Okay, and then top times top. That is just 5 minus I, bottom times bottom. Like this. And then the bottom part is always in the format of A plus B times A minus B. So it is simplified to be A squared minus B squared. And B squared is always I squared. So I squared is changed to -1. So it's 5 minus I over 26. And then we need to split the real part and the imaginary part. It's 5 over 26 minus 1 over 26I. Can you get this? So the real part is equal to 5 over 26. Real part is the no I part. And then the imaginary part is the number attaching to the I, or the coefficient of I, including the negative sign. Okay, so -1 over 26. So the sum of the real part and the imaginary part, okay, the required sum should be equal to 5 over 26 plus -1 over 26. Okay, so that should be 4 over 26. That is 2 over 13. Okay, so it is option A.好，講埋18題啊，今日啊。Number 18. If this number Z is a purely imaginary number, 記得呢個字啦 ，purely imaginary number means what? Means real part equals 0. Okay. So Z is equal to x squared minus 8I times 6 minus 3I. Okay. So what you need to do is to expand the brackets. 6x squared minus 3x squared I minus 48I plus 24I squared, and change the I squared to be -1. Okay, 6x squared minus 3x squared I minus 48I minus 24. And then group the real parts and together and the imaginary parts together. 6x squared, the no I part will be like this, plus the I part is -3x squared minus 48 and then I. Can you get this? So we have the real part being 6x squared minus 24, and the imaginary part equals -3x squared plus minus 48. Okay, but the question tells us that it is a purely imaginary number. So I need to put my real part to be 0. Okay, but you have got a quadratic equation, your favorite type of equation. 6x squared is equal to 24. X squared is equal to 4. Don't forget to put a plus or minus. Okay, so positive. So we have positive square root or negative square root. Okay, and of course the answer will be 2 or -2. Okay, so the answer is option A. Can you get this? Okay, do you have any questions up to now? So if there is no more problems, and next Monday we still have one more lesson, and then I will continue to talk about this multiple choice questions unless you want me to talk about any questions in the long questions, okay? So if you have any questions you want me to talk about during the lesson, you may tell me, okay? If no one wants me to talk about any questions, it's so poor. Then I will just continue to talk about this multiple choice paper, okay? So if you have no more problems, then that is the end of this lesson, and you may leave now. Goodbye.
老師，
係，
我想問咧，第9題 MC 咧，
係，
我都係唔明點樣將佢轉做 KM 二次。
哦，得，嗱呢度係麻煩㗎。
點解唔可以直接將個2億除1000再除100？
再除100嘅話咧，呢個咧只不過係將個 cm 轉做 km 嘅啫，就唔係將 cm square 轉做 km square 嘅。所以咧，你 get 唔 get 到先？
我明。
嗱，如果純粹係長度嘅單位轉嘅話咧，就好似頭先咁樣啦。但係如果係面積嘅單位轉換嘅話咧，我哋就要將嗰個，譬如頭先咧，嗱簡單嚟講咧，如果你將m square 轉做 km square 嘅話咧，我咪一個 km 等於1000個 m 嘅 ，OK？ 然之後咧，如果即係一個 m 嘅話咧，就會等於1/1000個 km 啦，係嘛？就咁轉嘅啫。如果係長度嘅單位轉換 ，OK 嗬？係。但係如果係 square， 即係如果係面積嘅話咧，我哋就要將呢一嚿嘢咧去到 square 佢先啦。OK，square 咗，因為你個數字係咪唔同㗎 ？OK， 數字係唔同喎。咁嘅時候咧，呢個就會變咗做一個 km square 咧，就會等於唔係1000 ，sorry， 咁樣呢個100萬個 m square 嘅。OK， 咁當然啦，一個 m square 咧就會等於100萬分之1個 km square 啦。OK， 得唔得？但係咧頭先咧，我哋喺嗰條題目裏邊嘅話咧，我哋係要牽涉到2次轉換嘅，先由 km 轉做 m， 再由 m 轉做 cm 咁樣樣。咁所以其實我就會一次過轉咗佢，變咗揾翻個 km 同埋cm 之間嘅關係先。OK， 跟住就再將佢 square 翻，變到咁樣樣。記唔記得啊？
記到。
係啦，就係咁啦。所以咧，即係永遠都係，如果係啲咩地圖啊咁樣嗰啲嘅話咧，咁永遠都係問你呢啲 area 嘅比例嘅時候咧，咁記得咧將嗰個圖例啊，即係 scale of the map 咧，係要 square 翻先嘅咁樣樣。OK，
唔該。
好 ，OK 得。
OK， 唔該。
好，仲有冇其他問題？其他同學？好，如果冇嘅話咧，咁就我哋今日到呢度先啦，拜拜。